Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. As usual, we have a ton of information in here. Oh, my goodness. And I have a big update for you on the tea story. Oh, yes. So let's just jump in and get busy. We're going to start off with King Charles. He was at a reception at Lancaster House where business leaders, indigenous representatives, NGOs, and government officials came together to talk about solutions that can be put in place to integrate nature into business practices. And while he was at the reception, really interesting, he was treated to a performance by puppet collective The Herds. And it was a gorilla, I guess is what it was. It was really cool. This performance was aimed to represent the environmental themes that had been discussed at the event, as well as raise awareness about humanity's connection to the natural world. So the king saw the performance in the grand hall of Lancaster House. He seemed very impressed and, again, engaged with one of the puppets. Maybe it's just me, but that puppet looked really realistic. I mean, that's just my thought. Anyway, this took place on Wednesday, June 25th. Also on the same day, King Charles had George and Amal Clooney at a different reception at Buckingham Palace. This reception was to celebrate the 2025 King's Trust Award, which we know recognizes young people who have overcome significant challenges to create positive change in their communities. This apparently took place in the evening, and the king looked very happy to see the Clooneys. This reception marked the 10th anniversary of the King's Trust International, which of course took place right before the annual King's Trust Award ceremony. So Charles met the winners of the 8 UK categories, which is Enterprise, Education, Breakthrough, Young Challenge Maker, Young Achiever, Community Impact, Rising Star, and Volunteer of the Year. And he also met the winners of the 3 global categories, Global Young Achiever, Amal Clooney Women's Empowerment, and Global Sustainability Award. I think it's pretty cool that after the way the Clooneys got used by Harry and Meghan, they realized, and now they're hanging out with King Charles. I love that. Kind of reminds me of the Beckhams, doesn't it? All these people that Meghan tried to cultivate are now hanging out with Charles and are enjoying what Charles is doing. Now, on Tuesday, before those 2 receptions, King Charles hosted another reception at St. James Palace to mark 25 years of the Royal Drawing School. There was an exhibition called The Power of Drawing, which had 50 works by well-known names and emerging talent, and they were celebrating the act of drawing as a universal form of expression. Charles co-founded the school in 2000 with artist Catherine Goodman. So they're having this great reception. There's a special piano performance by singer-songwriter Rufus Wainwright, and all this stuff is going on, and they put up this. Charles is stunned because multiple guests wore Crocs. I'm sorry. I don't believe for one second that King Charles would say one word to anybody about the kind of, footwear they're wearing at the palace. I just don't believe that. And I think that's a crappy headline. I digress. Anyway, this exhibition will be open to the public as a free display at the Royal Drawing School from July 1st through July 26th. And this exhibition is supposed to show the essential role of drawing across fields from fine art and architecture to film, performance, and design. Looks very nice. This is the sort of thing that I would go to if I lived in the UK and I was even close enough to get there. All right, let's keep moving. Now, when he was done with that reception on Tuesday, he then went back and had a private reception at Buckingham Palace to welcome refugee professionals from Ukraine, Afghanistan, Syria, and Ethiopia to mark the end of their refugee employment mentoring program, which saw them paired with members of the royal household. Love it. Next up, King Charles sent a message to Mozambique because they are celebrating their 50th anniversary of independence. All right, let's move on to Prince Edward. On Wednesday, the 25th, he left for Canada for a 7-day solo trip to that area. Now, he's going to carry out a number of royal engagements in the Commonwealth country. He's going to visit several different areas, including Toronto. And you know me, I'll report all of this as we go. Let's move on, though, to his fabulous wife, Sophie. She went to visit the Countess of Wessex studio on Tuesday. That place was named in her honor. This is her first visit at the home of the Central School of Ballet since her elevation from Countess of Wessex to Duchess of Edinburgh. For those of you who don't know, she formally opened the studios in 2020, and she has been its patron since 2003. The school offers professional dance training classes from age 3 to 18, as well as undergraduate and postgraduate levels of education. They have a state-of-the-art health suite that gives access to the students for psychology and nutritional services. There's also a Pilates program and injury recovery support. I find it pretty cool that they have these activities on site so that people that get injured don't have to go elsewhere for recovery. That's pretty cool. Now, of course, they had Sophie sit down and sign the obligatory guest book. And by the way, just FYI, I love this color green on her. I think she looks fabulous. Now, after signing the book, of course, she got onto the stage. Oh, I love the outfits. Where she took, the pictures with all the different dancers, different ages, different sizes. I think that's very nice. And then, of course, they presented her with some gorgeous, gorgeous flowers. She took a picture with them. And as usual, a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything that Sophie was wearing at this event. All right, let's keep going. Let's move on now to Princess Anne. On Tuesday, she was in Scotland at the Gordonston School. She was there to open a new Coast Guard center. And she was wearing this gorgeous purple skirt, and it was raining, but she didn't seem to care that it was raining. And this school, just as an FYI, was attended by Prince Philip, King Charles, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, Peter Phillips, and Zara Tindall. So they all went to this particular school. So I'm sure that Anne was very excited to be there. Now, on the 25th, Princess Anne attended events to mark Canada Day in Bramshot and Liphook. There were school children there. She read from the Bible during a remembrance service in St. Mary's Church in Bramshot. Then she went to the Cross of Sacrifice in the churchyard where she laid a wreath. Princess Anne then traveled to Liphook Junior School, where 90 Year 4 pupils presented the story of Canadian servicemen Ernest and Ronald Eady, I believe is how you say it, in a drama song and video presentation. And she also gave a £5 coin to a child there. It was 9-year-old Bellamy Budd, chosen because he demonstrated significant learning from the 3-month Canada Day project. He researched a soldier who died of Spanish flu in 1918, and he was so inspired he did his own family tree. We're going to move on now to Prince William, who did investitures, and one of the ones he did was Gareth Southgate. He was the manager of England national football team. He was made a Knight Bachelor at Windsor Castle for services to association football. Very nice. And when that was over, the next person was Sir Gerald Davies from the Welsh Rugby Union. He was president of that, and he was made a Knight Bachelor. And the honor recognizes services to the Rugby Union and to voluntary and charitable services in Wales. After all that, we had Mr. Gass, who was made an Officer of the Order of the British Empire for recognizing services to cycling. Mr. Dabo, the Executive Vice President of Atlantic Records in the UK, was made an Officer of the Order of the British Empire for recognizing services to music. We have Mr. Kenneth Davey, who was made an Officer of the Order of the British Empire for services to community rugby league football. And finally, Mr. Eric Hoyt, who was made an Officer of the Order of the British Empire for recognizing services to marine conservation. Let's go back now to Edward. He visited the Southeastern Regional College Lisburn campus. This took place on Monday, June 23rd. What he did was met students that are working on their Duke of Edinburgh awards. He talked to them. They demonstrated the activities they've been engaged in for their volunteering and skills section, which includes learning circus skills and creating a board game. Way to go, Edward. All right. Let's move on now. We have heard that King Charles is looking forward to hosting Donald Trump when he flies over. He is going to get a full state visit with the bells and whistles this year. Apparently, King Charles was originally preparing for a state visit next year. They take like 6 months to plan. I still remember when this guy gave Trump the invitation in front of the cameras. I got to be honest, I don't think that's what Charles had in mind. I always thought that was kind of odd that he did that. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Princess Catherine. They're saying she is going to make her return to public duties with appearances at Wimbledon and the French state visit. So she's going to be more flexible in her approach to royal engagements. And we know that she doesn't miss tennis. And they say she's also going to play a significant role in President Macron's state visit on July 8th. I hope she wears a tiara. I love her in tiaras. All right, next up, Launer London has just announced that their brand was granted a royal warrant by appointment to Queen Camilla. And she's well known for being Queen Elizabeth's go-to person, for bags. And a thank you to Sarah's Secret on Twitter for pointing out that you can see the coat of arms of Queen Camilla is different from the coat of arms from Queen Elizabeth. Let's move on to our Harry Meghan stuff. We know we never hear anything about their philanthropic and charity work anymore. Everything is about Meghan's, as ever, and her Netflix show and all this kind of stuff. Well, in order to keep up with their philanthropic work, they released a message to mark Social Media Harm Remembrance Day. Really? Yeah, that's really hard work, let me tell you, putting out a statement. Now, we know that Meghan is trying to revive her racism claims. So, of course, her friend who took her wedding photos is now coming out with racism claims as well. I mean, they're pushing this whole narrative again because the royal family cut them off and they have nothing else. And I already showed you the other day through Meeson Harriman and Sister Space how she gets her friends to attack. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's move on. We know that Harry and Meghan really want their children to have the chance to be working royals. And you see in these articles, they're raising the children just like the royal children. And they're putting out articles like this. Princess Lilibet and her cousin Charlotte share the same sweet hobby. And they're talking about the Jellycats, okay? Harry and Meghan are very, very clear. They realize they screwed up. They want their children to have royal roles and to possibly work for the same family they claim that they escaped from with barely their lives. Well, he can forget it. Now that all of this is coming out, they're saying that William doesn't want to have any quote-unquote lingering ties to Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, or their kids, and that decision to exclude Harry and Meghan's children from the monarchy is entirely William's decision. 100% William's call. And they're saying that William is not going to budge. He is firm in his decision, and he believes that drawing boundaries is the only way to protect the crown during his reign. And they're also saying that once he takes over as king, the children will not have roles, titles. He's going to remove everything, and, I think he should. I think he should just let them be nobodies in America. All right, let's move on to our big story for today. All right, here we go. Do you guys remember just the other day that Think Beautiful, which is a YouTube account, went on to the As Ever website and looked at the metadata, which clearly showed that the lemon ginger tea and one of the other teas came from the Republic of Teas Fulfillment Center. Remember that? It appears that after the press did some inquiries as to why it said that, they went online, Meghan did, and changed it from Republic of Tea to As Ever. A little late for that. Like, I don't get it. Who's running this ship? Because isn't Meghan supposed to be really big on attention to detail? Why would they do something like that? Republic of Tea operates from a headquarters in Larkspur, which is 350 miles from where Meghan lives. And its manufacturing facility is 2,000 miles away in Nashville, Illinois. As it turns out, the metadata was unnecessary because if you read the small print on their shipping policy at the very bottom, it says it comes from the Republic of Tea. Unbelievable. So what she's doing is buying this stuff from the Republic of Tea. She pushes up the price 3 times higher and then sells it. So the company sells the comparable tea for $14 for 36 tea bags. She sells it 12 tea bags. So basically all you're doing is paying a big increase for Meghan's label. She's taking advantage of celebrity branding. But for her, it's a Meghan markup, not Meghan Markle. What Meghan is doing is called white label drop shipping. So you sell products made by a third party, but it's shipped out with your label, your packaging, and your store identity. Now, of course, sources close to Meghan have come out and they have confirmed what we already know now, that the Republic of Tea is her supplier, but insists her blend is different to what they offer. So basically what the source is claiming is that she's getting the tea, which is already done, from the Republic of Tea, and then somehow she's altering it to make it her own. My thought process on this is this. The Sussex squad will continue to buy the products from Meghan. The rest of the world is going to go, no. Why would we pay 3 times the amount for the exact same tea that we can get at the Republic of Tea? I mean, this has got to be another setup from Netflix. Now, a few things I'd like to point out. Thank you to Madam Overseas Backfat for pointing this out. If you buy the honey from Meghan, it's $28 for 9 ounces, source unknown. It's not raw, it's not natural. You could get Flamingo Estates honey. They charge $40 to $48 for 19.5 ounces of locally sourced raw California wildflower honey with full source details on their website. Or you could buy honey from High Grove for exactly the same size jar but for half the price, $14, and we know theirs is 100% natural. And I have to tell you, I think it's absolutely terrible that Meghan puts up all these pictures trying to make everybody think that she's really doing all of this stuff at home by herself. I mean, it's very obvious at this point. It's all fake. Netflix has full control of this as far as I can tell. Now, also on the As Ever website, in very small lettering, in the FAQ section, it says, we partner with best-in-class vendors to bring our product ideas to life, translating our founders' recipes and bespoke concepts into beautiful, scalable goods. Yeah, right. In the meantime, the Republic of Tea website reveals that it uses caffeine-free Nigerian hibiscus, which makes you wonder if Meghan's trip to Nigeria on her fake royal tour with Harry, if somehow they managed to, score the stuff from Nigeria. Maybe that's why Nigeria hosted them, because they were able to get some of the stuff sold in the United States. Oh, I want your comments on this one. Make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe and the bell. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, a link to my second channel, a link to my Amazon gift list, and a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.